Welcome to the Millionaires mini-series with your hosts Stephanie Keith and Stacey Failing, here to set you up with the most luxurious version of yourself. This podcast is filled with wealthy women vibes and a sneak peek into the millionaire's lifestyle. Whether you're inner millionaire's dreams of taking private jets to deserted islands or you prefer the lighter side of luxury, we have an opportunity for you that is priceless.
Come join us as we share with you all of our juicy money secrets, mindset hacks, and so much more. Money may not buy happiness, but it can provide you with an abundant life beyond your wildest dreams. So turn up the volume, adjust your crown, and get ready to embrace your inner millionaire-ess.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. So today, Stacey and I are going to talk about resets, pivots. Anytime you need a change, need to freshen up life a little bit. So we're going to dive into all of that. And this is the perfect time to really get into that in the spring. I feel like every spring, I don't know, you just kind of like refresh, you declutter, you've got the spring cleaning going on in your home, but we can take that internally too, right? And kind of like take stock of everything going on within us, within our life, and see what we want to declutter, what we want to freshen up. And Stacey and I actually have a free workshop that is going to be April 19th at 1:00 Eastern, where we're going to do this, but we're going to do it with decluttering money beliefs, money doubt. There's so much of that we've been conditioned with. So if you're someone that really struggles with your money mindset, know that you're not alone. Everyone does. We've been programmed and conditioned through our society to feel that way when it comes to money. And this workshop is really going to be targeting that and decluttering those money beliefs that really aren't serving us, that have been keeping you small. So if you're the type of person that maybe every single month you end up with the same bank balance, and it's like no matter how much you work, how hard you work, what you do, you end up in the same place and it's always a struggle. That is very common. And there's a lot of reasons, especially subconsciously, why that happens. So in this workshop, we're going to help get through some of those really common beliefs. And when you do that and you clear those, you make space for abundance to come in. So you think about spring cleaning your house. And let's say you decide to bring in a bunch of new items, new pillows, new decor to really like freshen up your space. Well, you have to move the old pillows and the old decor out of the way, right? Otherwise, you just have clutter everywhere. So same thing with those limiting beliefs. We're going to move those out of the way and we're going to create that space. And that space is going to invite abundance to come in and invite a new possibility, a new money reality for you. So if that sounds like something that you want to do, the workshop is completely free. You can sign up by going to the link in the show notes, or you can go on Instagram at Millionaires Money Mindset and sign up there. And we have a ton of giveaways and some special bonuses. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to dive deep in this workshop. I am so excited. I was talking to Stacey over the past few days, and we were just getting so revved up with like all of the different things that we're going to cover. So you definitely don't want to miss out on it. So again, just go to the link in the show notes and we'll see you on April 19th.
Yeah, so I'm so excited for that, by the way, because of not just the content and how valuable and just it's amazing what we've put together in this free workshop, but the giveaways are phenomenal. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to make sure to hop on live. It's only for an hour. So if you are at work, if you can rearrange your lunchtime to be present and have a chance to win some of those amazing prizes. But if you can't hop on, we understand too. And if it's just for signing up, you will get all of the worksheets and the content and the replay and everything too. So even if you can't make it live, make sure that you hop on that list and we'll send everything over to you.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. I created a workbook and everything.
Yeah.
Anyone that's ever worked with us, Stacey, they know that we overgive. We throw everything in the kitchen sink in what we do. So it'll be a lot of value. And we're going to teach you a couple of our favorite techniques that you can then use, and take with you in life. Because I mean, these money beliefs and any beliefs, they're going to be with you. And it's a lifelong process of working through this stuff. But once you learn the tools to manage it, it just can change everything. So we look forward. It's going to be fun. We have so many people signed up already. And that's the other thing. I would try to sign up and get on the Zoom on time, because we may run out of spots on Zoom. I'm not sure where they cap it out, but it's going to be great. I can't wait for it. And if you sign up and you can't get on the Zoom for any reason, you get the replay. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. And it's exactly what we practice. So everything that we always teach is what we do. We don't just tell you stuff that we are pulling out of thin air or that somebody else is using. These are things that we use in our day-to-day routines, and the things that have helped us to level up our mindset and to get us to a place where we are, financially free and having that time and money freedom, and getting us further and further away from those blocks. So super excited to have you on there. And today's episode is a little bit about that, a little bit about, when you're feeling like you want to conquer the world and you feel like you have all these things and these goals that you want to accomplish, and you maybe just don't even know where to start, or maybe you've gotten started, but you've got so many things in all different directions that it's almost overwhelming to a point where you don't even want to do it anymore. And on today's episode, we want to talk about the value of pushing reset, or pivoting in a direction that maybe you didn't think about, or maybe a direction that you're intuitively being pulled to, because your body knows best and your body is going to tell you what it is that you need to pour your time and energy into. And so even though, we all have those to-do lists and things that are on our heart that we want to accomplish, but the beautiful thing is you don't have to do it all now. You don't have to do them all together. And just really understanding that it's okay if you want to change your mind, if you want to pivot, if you want to put one of those projects that you're in the middle of doing right now on hold because you're not feeling that creative energy with that, and yet you're pulled in a different direction. That's okay. And I've often questioned that and had so much resistance against things like that in the past when I've been working on projects, because I'm a check it off the checklist kind of a person. And so I feel a sense of accomplishment when I can cross things off. So if I have 5 things that are ongoing, it gives me a little bit of anxiety stuff. And I know you feel the same way. So has this been helpful for you too? And just being okay with having those, multiple tabs open, if you will, and going back and forth when you feel like you're in the best creative energy for that particular project, rather than just forcing it to make it happen, to get it done, and then look back and go, oh, well, that's shittier than I wanted it to be, because I just felt like I had to do it, and I did it and got it done, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be.
Yes, 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 yes. And I think that this is the reason why we are such great business partners, is because we are the type that we want to check off the list, but at the same time, we trust our intuition and we let our intuition lead us. So if there is something on the list and intuitively we're not feeling it, and we just know that, you know what, we're going to set this aside for a moment, we can trust that. And that's really what we try to teach all of our clients is it's okay to seek support and guidance. Of course, everyone needs that, and you need that assurance, but really it's about cultivating that relationship with yourself and trusting how you're feeling. And what's so frustrating to me is I feel like everyone in the coaching industry these days, whether it's business coaching, social media coaching, manifestation coaching, everyone wants to tell you niche down and you can only focus on one thing, and you have to become an expert on that thing before you can even think about going on to the next thing. And that never felt good to me. I mean, those of you that have known me for a while, I am all over the place all the time. I'm multi-passionate, and so is Stacy, and so is pretty much all the women in our Millionaires Mastermind and the elite coaching. We are that way because we're so tapped in to that right side of our brain, that creativity, that imagination, manifestation. And so, of course, we're going to be intuitively led to different things. And I believe that is divine timing. I believe that if all of a sudden you're feeling really restless or frustrated or bored or overwhelmed, you need to really tune into that, because that, in my opinion, is your intuition trying to tell you something like, hey, listen up. Like, this isn't what you need to focus on right now. There's something else that you're being called to. And what's so great, and Stacy put it so well, is that you can give yourself permission to pivot and to do that. Like, there's no rule that says you can't. And I think sometimes we can really hold ourselves back because of all this chatter telling us, no, you have to niche down. You have to focus on one thing. And so we feel almost guilty about switching, about trying something different, about putting something to the side. And as you'll learn in the workshop, guilt and shame, it's one of the lowest vibrations that you can possibly be in. So we really don't want to do that. We really want to empower you guys to trust that and to know that this is simply information from your intuition, from the universe. And you got to slow down in order to receive that information. You got to hit pause and get into the present moment and tune into it. Otherwise, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to know what's going on. And gosh, Stacey, like, how often do people nowadays slow down? It's like we're in this fast-paced world, and sometimes the last thing we want to do is stop and pause and hit reset. But it's so necessary, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And again, that was something that I fought for a long time and just pushed against because my body was telling me, you need to rest, you need to take a break. And everybody knows what that feels like when you just get bogged down and your body is telling you, you need to stop. And what ends up happening, and what happened to me for the longest time is like, perfect example. I would always take like the 2 weeks around Christmas and New Year's off. And I was like relaxing, and yeah, it was the holidays and we were busy and stuff, but it wasn't like the stress and the day-to-day that I was used to. And so I was able to take a step back, but I was forced to take that step back. And that's when my immune system just shut down because my body was in overdrive for so long. When I actually stopped because I was forced to stop, my body was like, what is happening? And went into this, I was sick, and it happened so many years in a row where I would get sick during those 2 weeks because my body was just needing that rest. And I was so, what's the word I'm looking for?
I know
Run down. I was
exactly.
so run down.
Yes.
And it's just so important that you tune into your body. And my daughter, teenagers nowadays with like screen time and stuff, we have some activities that we do like belly breathing and things like that, where I'm trying to help her learn to tune into her body too, because it can be so stressful, not just for us who are, doing businesses or working full time or moms, but for kids too. And so it's important that if we can learn these things, we can then teach these things to our spouses and our kids and help them recognize when they need to take a break. And it's not in our culture. It's not something that we are taught to do. We're just taught to hustle, and and then you're forced to, because you become sick or hurt or something, you're forced to stop, but only then do we stop. And that sucks. Nobody wants to spend their downtime sick or injured.
No,
And go
I
ahead.
totally agree. I feel like when you don't tune in to your intuition and you keep not tuning in and you keep like just pushing, 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 I feel like then the universe intervenes and you will get sick, or like something will happen that forces you to slow down. Like, look at COVID. COVID like slowed us all down. And yeah, there were like so many negative points of that, but there were also a lot of I feel like spiritual awakenings where people kind of realized they needed to pivot. And had they not like been forced to slow down, maybe that never would have happened.
Mhm.
So I do think when you get real sick like that, it could be a lot of times the universe saying like, hey, you need to rest. Like, your body needs this. You need to nourish yourself. And then you can go back at it with a clearer mind and heart and figure out what you need to do next. But I love that you're bringing up that you do that with your daughter, because if there's one thing I hope that this podcast does, is I hope it does start to shift culture a little bit
Mhm.
and give people permission to tap into their own power and to not just like keep going around on autopilot like we have for so long. And I think like what a great way to shift things than to teach the next generation, which is our kids. And I know when I do anything, whether it's working out or breath work or anything like that, and my kids are around, they just come up and join me. I don't even
Uh-huh.
have to ask, they just do it. And what a great example to set so that this next generation just grows up and it's just second nature. They don't have to learn this stuff because they've been doing it for so long. So I
Yeah.
love that you brought that up.
That becomes the norm. And I think that's so cool because my son, he's 4, and he does the same thing. He'll come in and he'll jump into a workout with me. And then, 2 minutes and he's like, okay, I'm done. But it's just
Mhm.
like seeing that habit and seeing you taking care of yourself and, seeing you doing that breath work and the meditation and listening to the subliminals that you have in the background when you're driving or when you're doing chores around the house, and just having that be normal for them is going to be a game changer for their generation. And hopefully, like you said, it just continues to make that shift because this has been so hard, and COVID just like, it really was an awakening where we're like, we just have not been taking care of ourselves ever. As soon as you could start to be a little independent, like it was go time and you were just out to do the thing, get good grades, go to college, get a good job, grind at your job, get promotions, all of that. And it's just talking about it just sounds so exhausting, let alone being in it. So if you're feeling like there's something that you're forcing to happen, or you feel like there's a pivot in you that you're just a little bit hesitant because you're not sure, just take a minute to get in tune with your body and really just listen to what it's telling you, because there's a reason why we are pulled in certain directions. But if we force things, or if we push back against what is supposed to happen, that's when we start to feel that resistance and things just don't start to flow. We're bogged down, we don't have that creativity and energy. So just pay attention to those things, because if you're starting to feel like that, there's a good chance that you're not in what it is that your heart and your body is telling you that you should be putting your time and energy into.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to share like one quick practice that I've been leaning into lately that's really, it's so simple, it's so quick, but it helps me pretty much instantly come into the present moment and clear my mind and just feel very grounded so that I can let go of some of that like overwhelm and stress and figure out like what's going on. And so that is grounding or earthing. I'm sure you've heard of it before.
Mhm.
And to be honest, like for the longest time, I was like, this is so like hippy dippy. Like, I don't know. I just like, I kind of balked at it, but I love like diving into the science of things. And I found a lot of doctors that are actually, they've done research and studies on this and they've explained the science behind it. So I have just, oh my gosh, I've realized how important it is. And all it is walking around outside in the grass and the dirt and the earth barefoot.
Mhm.
And what happens is the second, not even the second, the millisecond, the instant you hit the ground, your body is saturated with electrons. And it happens so quickly, they can't even measure it. Like that's how fast this happens. And what it does is just like you would charge up your phone and the phone battery charges, it's like charging up your body. You think about all the energy in the earth and you're like literally charging your battery because our human bodies are electrical systems. And so what really made me kind of get into this again was Aiden, my youngest. He was a colicky baby, and I didn't put two and two together until now. He's 2, and he was going through this phase where he was just getting like really irritable, and like crying a lot and just wanting me to hold him all the time. And I noticed that when I go outside and I'm barefoot and we're just like walking around the yard, he's fine, like instantly fine. But then the second I would like step off the grass and go inside, or if I had shoes on, he was like crying again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and I started diving into it, and it really does have this incredible effect. So I think that this is like a good practice to try now. It's springtime. Hopefully, it's not too cold wherever you are out there, and just give it a try and see how you feel. And if you are the type that maybe you don't like meditating, or maybe it is hard for you to quiet your mind, give this a try, because I'm that type of person and I like to be moving. And so I just go and I walk around my yard barefoot, and the clarity that I get is unreal. So I wanted to share that little tip, because that's what I'm like, that's what I've pivoted to in the last month or so.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite things too. And I didn't even know what it was, but most of my adult life, as soon as the weather gets warm, I am in flip-flops. And then when I'm outside, usually I'll just take them off and I'll walk around barefoot. By the end of summertime, like I have the toughest soles ever. And I've always loved it, but I didn't know why. It was just something that I loved, having my bare feet on the ground. And after I've, learned the science behind it and stuff, I'm like, that totally makes sense. And, I'm big into like the feminine energy and the divine feminine, and tuning into that. And we as women are really, even more so than men, supposed to be more in tune with nature anyway. So it's just natural for us to want to do that. And it's crazy that, your son makes that adjustment naturally too. And again, these are things that we're not taught, that if we can start to pay attention to, it can help us regulate, but it can also help our kids regulate. And it's so simple. And who would thought, to just go outside barefoot and walk around and your mood just completely changes. So simple,
Right.
simple things. And it doesn't have to take much time, and everybody can do it. Like you said, if the weather is nice, just go out and do it. Walk around with your bare feet and enjoy it.
Yeah. And you know what? One of the doctors had said that I was following that just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so true. Yet we never think about it. Is we're the only species that is not grounded all the time. So look at like any animal. I mean, they're constantly grounded, right? They're
Yeah.
outside in nature all the time. And what do humans do? We put on shoes with rubber soles, rubber that like does not keep us grounded with our electrical system. So it was just so fascinating. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I'm like you, Stacey. I love being barefoot. And my husband and daughter love to give me a hard time that like by the end of the night, my feet are like black from being outside. But hey, like I don't care, because I feel amazing and I love it. So
Yeah.
there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, we have so many more tips, like we said, coming up in the spring refresh workshop. So again, it's April 19th, 1 o'clock Eastern. If you can't make it live, sign up anyways, because you'll get the replay and all the goodies that we have coming your way. And it's gonna all play into this whole like, removing that stale energy and resetting yourself, resetting your mindset, resetting your body, resetting your connection with your intuition, so that maybe you do want to pivot, or maybe it'll just give you a clearer mind to move forward in what you're already doing. So we look forward to it. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited for this.
Me too.
Um, and yeah, do you have anything else to add, Stace, before we go?
No, I don't. I just make sure, like Steph said earlier, if you are planning on being on live, make sure that you sign in a little early or right on time, just in case, because we don't know when it's going to cap off. And so if you're really in it, we want you to be able to be there. So just a heads up on that too.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you soon.